Okay, so right now the keyboard's sitting pretty high. Normally I stand up when I play this, but I've got to do a few things here while I show you this. The organ program that I have on the screen right now, there's two versions of it. In this particular demonstration, I'm just using the self-standing, it's self-sustaining software by itself. And it's a great software if you want to play on stage. You might have a laptop here, and say your keyboard doesn't have these kind of sounds. You can use this software on stage, and that way, if your library doesn't have a great organ sound, you can use software through a laptop. A lot of bands do this, a lot of keyboard players. I just use it for recording as a standalone. And there's a couple of ways I can record. The way I'm going to show you later on is the way I normally record, but I can actually play in real time, take the sound coming out of the computer right now, loop it through the mixing board, and record it in real time as an analog sound. I can do that because you can hear the organ when I hit the keys. Okay, so any of the effects like modulation work on the work between the keyboard and the software. Not every function works, but in this particular program, that's a Leslie organ or a Hammond organ, they used to have speaker cabinets with spinning horns in them, and that would create this kind of almost underwater sound. So you can do it this way. You can hit the chord, and you hear it's kind of a straight sound. But if you actually want to have that spinning sound of the organ, you can either hit modulation here, you can hear it changing the sound, eh? Now, if you weren't using this synthesizer and you were just using the keyboard, modulation on most of the software, it's hard for me to show you because I'm a little cramped for space. So I'm just hitting the actual keyboard. You probably can't see it, but I'm actually hitting the letter U, okay, on the keyboard. So I'm going to hit the U, and I'm going to tell you I'm hitting the space bar, and you'll hear the change in sound. I'm just going to turn it up just maybe a bit more. Here's the letter U, which is playing a note. Now I'm going to hit the space bar. Now notice the difference in sound. It starts to waver. I'll hit it again. It shuts off. Now if I hit two notes to make a chord, hit a space bar, it starts the warbly sound. Off, on. So you don't need the synthesizer. You can definitely do it through your keyboard, but if you're a fantastic type keyboard player, very unlikely you're going to try and do that on your typing board. Okay, so in this software, I have sounds that I've worked on over the years that I like to use in some of my songs. I have other synthesizer programs. In computer language, they call them soft synths. They're software synths. Basically, they're programmed by some gurus, and they sell this stuff for us weekend warriors to use with our songs. For us to go out and buy this actual organ, you're probably looking easy $10,000. And I don't have 10 grand to spend on an organ, and I'm sure you don't either. There are so many moving parts and circuits in these real Hammond organs that it's crazy to actually own one, let alone to have guys pick it up and put it on stage. You will see this type of organ in, like I say, bands like Deep Purple, and you know, Tom Petty I think has one, and you know, maybe Bruce Springsteen, I'm not sure, but sure, there's, you know, a lot of people have gone to this synthesizer with the software because you don't have to lug it around, and it's, you know, less things to go wrong. But as great as this software is that I use, it will never ever replace a Hammond organ. It's just one of those beautiful instruments that are one of a kind. So in here are tons of the settings I've worked on over the years. Okay, here's a list of about 120 sounds that I've worked on over the years that have become my favorites and that I'll use on my original material. I don't use them, you know, on every song I write, but if it's you know, asking for you know, half decent organ sound, these are the 120 that I basically kind of use the most. And they're all written with specific names, and you just select the ones you want. Some of these are very basic organ sounds. Organ sounds with distortion, which was big in the 70s. A Deep Purple kind of sound. Very Deep Purple. I've got variables of the Deep Purple sound because I love it. So that is just a basic, simple rundown. Organ into the interface, into the computer, playing into a software synth. At this point, I'm not going into any recording software. Okay? And that's part 2.